Today is the 23rd of September 2021 and it's been raining today, which I'm not complaining about because it means I didn't feel guilty about not being out doing various projects. But I've been wanting for a couple of weeks to do a review of the Telesin smart tracking pan tilt that I purchased a month ago maybe, which is this puppy. Now, first up I would say is it's misleading in that as far as I can work out it does not do tilt. However, that doesn't mean that it's not actually quite a useful device for what I want it for, and it has some, if you want to call them, bonus features that I wasn't aware of until I had already purchased it. So it comes, this is it here, that way up. So basically it has a camera in the front that it uses for the tracking, and it has a power light, and it has another indicator light that tells you whether it's in tracking mode or in time-lapse mode, depending on how it flashes. It has a 6mm or 1/4 inch thread on the top of it that you can obviously lock other things onto, and it has the same on its bottom end, so you can put it onto a tripod, or in my instance one of the uses I have for it is we'll get to that. So anyway, it comes with that, and this one, which actually came from, as it's branded, came from Camgo in Australia. Now the reason that I in New Zealand bought it from Australia was because I couldn't find any even online store in New Zealand that had it for sale. I suspect that the reason for that might be that in actual fact we have quite strict rules around misrepresentation of a product, and because this doesn't actually, as far as I can tell, do tilt, it would run foul of the Commerce Commission. So anyway, we'll come to that in a minute. So it's a well-built little device. It feels reasonably heavy, and from what I've seen so far does a reasonable job. What I'm going to show you is the various ways that I'm going to use it. So because for the most part, when I'm videoing, I often, particularly when I'm using my DSLR, I often like to use a shotgun microphone because I'm further away from the camera. Now that kind of works, well, it does work if you are always in front of the camera, because obviously a shotgun points in one direction. So this is my, where are we? There it is. So it is a very old Sennheiser shotgun that I've had for almost 20 years. I'm actually going to move it more out into the light so that you can actually see it better. But the issue that I have is that if I'm on one side of the camera and then want to go around to the other side of the camera, of course the shotgun's pointing in the wrong direction. So my thought was, actually I could mount this device on either on a separate tripod or on top of the camera, and then mount the shotgun on the top of it, and then the shotgun would track me even though the camera is staying pointed in the same direction. So that had some appeal. The other thing obviously is what I assume was their original intention, is that you can mount your camera on it, and then you can focus in a narrower field, and then it will track you. Say I'm working on building a garden shed or whatever, then if I want to video that, if I pull back far enough, so that me moving around, I don't move out of the frame, then the detail's a bit lacking. Whereas with this, I could actually narrow that in, and then it would track me as I moved around. So because I'm a person that works pretty much exclusively on my own, then this is a handy little cameraman, if you like. The other thing that I have discovered since I've got it is that it's actually also a webcam. So I've run it via USB, and I tried it out in Google Meet, and it worked quite effectively, because you put the tracking on, and then you can, so if you were a teacher or somebody who was wanting to be part of a meeting, or just with friends or whatever, but you wanted to be able to move around in the kitchen or those kind of things, then this is a great little device for that as well. Obviously you can put on the top of it a phone holder or a tablet holder or whatever, and then you can just do it off that. So if you were using WhatsApp on a phone or whatever, the same thing would work. So it is quite a nice little device. I will record some other footage of me using it as I've suggested, and then we'll go from there. So this is by way of demonstration of what I mean about using the shotgun on top of the DSLR. So at the moment I'm standing in front of the camera, which is what I do sometimes, but I try not to do it too much. And then if I zoom in a bit and then go a bit further away, there we go. So, but if I then want to move to my left in this instance, ideally, because I want to go around and behind, or I want to do something else, but I want the camera to stay where it is, but the microphone to follow me, then the Telesin enables me to do that, because I can now walk over here, and as you will see on the GoPro footage, it then follows me around. And it means that when I'm around here, or more particularly if I'm right behind the camera, I can then, the microphone is still pointing at me, which is what I really want in some instances. Now I'm behind the camera and the microphone's still pointing at me, and I can also then move around this way, and the microphone will follow me, and now I can be back in the frame again. So that's one of the reasons I bought it, and the other will be I'll show you how it works with the camera. As you can tell, well, you might be able to tell, I'm using the Telesin tracker, so it's going to be a bit of a test to see how far it can go. So the reason that I'm using the dirt from down there first is because the quality of that soil is not as good as the stuff that's next to the raised bed, and so I'm quite happy to put that on the bottom. Gets rid of it out of the way. It came from under where the wooden garden shed is, so unfortunately I had to store it somewhere lower than where it was ultimately going, but that's okay. Gives me a good workout. I don't need a gym. It's a beautiful afternoon, apart from the noise from the digger and compactor next door. So I thought I would take the opportunity to come up to the summer house and demonstrate the Telesin as a webcam. However, I'm having some issues with my screen capture software, so I'm just going to use the GoPro, and so not sure how successful will that be. It might be a bit flickery. What you're seeing at the moment is footage that is coming to the laptop via the Telesin tracker and its internal camera onto the screen, and then the GoPro is filming the screen. So I wanted to demonstrate how useful this little thing is for doing, you know, webcasting or YouTube videos or whatever really. So you'll see that as I move around, it moves around, and so it will track with me, and I can come all the way around here, and then I can talk to you from this side and stand in the garden at the same time. And you can probably see behind me the digger and things. Well, you can't maybe not see the digger, but you'll be able to see the compactor. So this is really, that's all I wanted to demonstrate, that it's, as a webcam, it's actually not too bad, and I can see it being quite useful. So this is another little bit of the picture, if you like. Pardon the pun. And you even got the USB cable in the video. So yeah, normally it would be slightly different setup, but that's okay, it works. Originally, back in around the 20th of September, I started to do a review of the Telesin pan tilt tracker, or tracker pan tilt I think they call it, and I was having some issues with the remote. So I was in touch with the supplier in Australia, and they sent to me at no charge a new remote. However, it was not the remote that was the problem, it was the actual tracker unit. So they then sent me a whole new unit. So this is Camgo in Australia, who have been very good. And so now I have a tracker that the remote doesn't work with, and I have another one that the remote does work with. And so this little clip is showing you what the remote does and how the unit works. Now, as part of the video, you will have seen it tracking how I'm using it, that kind of thing. So really this is just about the remote. So if I swing this around so that you can actually see the unit. Now, as you can see, currently the power light is on, and the unit comes with this set of instructions which you just about need a magnifying glass to read, but that's okay. And this is the remote. It has a little C battery in it. What is it? It's a CR2032, and it works fine. It's got a on-off switch on the side here, and it has, basically you can press on this side, top, this side there, the middle, and also this other button at the bottom. Now, the top and bottom ones turn it either full circle left or right. So if you wanted to do a pan, if you like, you can't control the speed of it, but if I push that, it will now do, it'll go to the left. Okay, so you can just do a little bit if you want to. Here we go, now it's going to go all the way around to where it was, and I'll bring it back a bit further. Here we go. Then if I push the top one, it should turn a full circle the other way, which it is now doing. Now, if I want to trigger time-lapse mode, then I push this one here. If I do a long press on that, you'll see now that this top light is flashing, and that tells me it's in time-lapse mode, and so it will do a little incremental shift every second. There you go, you can see it moving around. And if I push that again, it will turn it off. And now you can see how that light is on steady. It will now, that's now in tracking mode. So now I'm moving around and it's tracking me. It's a little bit confused by the tripod in the middle, but it's doing okay. And then I can also turn that off. And so now it's back to just normal mode, if you like, just on. So yeah, the remote works quite well, and I can see where it could be quite useful when I'm using it in the field. So that's just to assure you that yes, the remote does work well, and the buttons all do what they're supposed to do. In summary, the Telesin tracker I think is a pretty good unit. It's not expensive, it's robust. As far as cam goes concerned, their support has been great, and so yeah, I would recommend it if you obviously if you have a need for it, which I do, and yeah, it's going to be a useful tool. So that's goodbye from me for now. It's another beautiful evening here, but I need to go and attend to the venison sausages on the barbecue before they burn.